This is Veridecs. We believe that every statement has a signature. When a person speaks or writes, their subconscious mind is in a constant battle with their conscious intent. Deception isn't just about what is said, it's about the structural collapse of the narrative. Today, we're going to show you exactly what that looks like. In this showcase, we are analyzing a relationship trust scan. The context: a partner is being questioned about their movements on a Tuesday night. They claim they were out alone at a bar. Our system will analyze this statement across 8 forensic passes, looking for pronoun shifts, social fractures, and temporal anchors. As Veridecs builds the forensic report, listen closely to the statement. Try to hear what the software is looking for.
No. What? Nothing's going on. So we are going this through again? I told you, I was just out. I went to the bar about 11 p.m. and had 3 beers and I guess bought 1 cocktail. I was there pretty much alone except for Jim and Sarah. We sat in the back corner. Jim discusses about his girlfriend and his relationship situation, but mostly we just talk about things like work. Then, after 2 to 3 hours, I left the bar. On the way, we watched the sun starting to rise. Then I was home at 4 a.m. That's about it, really. Then in my car, I actually checked my phone and saw your messages, and I started to write back, but it was too late, so I just got out of the vehicle, walked home, took a shower, and then to bed.
The Veridecs analysis is ready. The system generates a cheating risk score of 78. This score immediately tells the investigator if a statement is likely honest or deceptive based on the density of linguistic red flags. But the true value of analysis is not the scoring. Its purpose is to get the user's attention. Now, let's follow the results from the top down. We begin with the leakage ribbon. Veridecs detected 13 narrative leakage patterns. In forensics, leakage is the unintentional release of information caused by the high cognitive demand of maintaining a lie. An honest statement is a report of memory. A deceptive one is a fabrication that requires constant management. Next, forensic vocabulary. The word, actually, signals an internal conflict between reality and the speaker's claims. Just is used to minimize the severity of an action, and the number, 3, the liar's number, appears twice, a common filler used when a subject cannot recall a specific quantity. Under unnecessary words, we see a cluster of persuasion. Phrases like really and I guess are used to convince rather than state facts. The frequent use of so indicates the subject has shifted from recounting events to justifying their actions, a sign of high internal tension. Interaction framing reveals a psychological shift. The subject moves from discusses, a structured goal-oriented term, to talk, a casual interaction. This inconsistency suggests a shifting perspective or an attempt to reframe the seriousness of the meeting with Jim. The system generates investigative hooks. It flags, I guess, as a memory qualification, where the subject creates a way out for their recall. It also notes passive compliance. The subject describes walking home and showering without resistance, which warrants deep follow-up in a coercive context. A high-severity flag, action omission. The phrase, "I went to the bar," describes an intention but omits the completion of the act. In linguistics, describing the start of an action without confirming the outcome is a primary indicator that a critical event has been skipped. Pronoun stuttering, I, indicates a micropause, the brain stalling to calculate the next thought. This is followed by 3 pronoun omissions. By removing the word I before walked home and took a shower, the subject is psychologically withdrawing their ownership of those actions. Strategic exit transitions like left are high-frequency markers for withheld information. These act as temporal bridges, allowing the speaker to compress time and skip over the most sensitive movements of the night without providing detail. The subject utilizes narrative closure markers. Phrases like, "that's about it," act as psychological boundaries. The subject is choosing to stop the narrative prematurely to avoid further questioning, signaling they are aware that more information exists, but are refusing to disclose it. Incompletion markers like, "I started, report effort without a result." This is paired with stalling questions. Answering what to a simple question is a buy-time tactic, allowing the subject to process the danger of a question before committing to a lie. A critical catch, definite object reference. The subject refers to the vehicle before it was introduced. Using the instead of a suggests cognitive preloading. The speaker is linguistically skipping ahead to a known prop in their mental script rather than recalling its first appearance. Finally, synonym drift. Truthful speakers maintain a consistent internal dictionary. The sudden swap from car to vehicle and discusses to talk marks the exact moment of highest psychological stress. When the vocabulary changes, the narrative is no longer anchored in memory. We reach the final verdict. Veridecs AI analysis assigns a cheating risk score of 78 and a deception probability of 85%. The most telling metric is the coherence score of 30. This represents a narrative in total collapse, a fragmented, chronologically disrupted account that signals a rehearsed story rather than a lived memory. Section: The smoking gun. Pronoun contradiction. Visual: a split-screen comparison. Left side: I was there pretty much alone. Right side: on a way we watched the sun starting to rise. The word "we" is highlighted in a glowing yellow. Every deceptive narrative has a leak. Here, it's a massive pronoun contradiction. The subject claims they were pretty much alone, but later slips, "on a way we watched the sun rise." This is guilty knowledge. The sudden appearance of an unexplained "we" is the strongest indicator that a third party was present and is being intentionally concealed. Section: Defensive posture and justification. Visual: zoom in on the text. So we are going this through again, followed by the elaborate excuse about the vehicle and the phone. The AI flags a defensive posture. Instead of answering, the subject challenges the inquiry to put the questioner on the back foot. We also see excessive justification. The long, stuttered explanation for not texting back, calling their own car the vehicle, creates psychological distance. You don't call your own car a vehicle unless you are trying to detach yourself from what happened inside it. We look now at a subtle but critical indicator: the numeral style shift. Veridecs identified the subject alternating between digits and words, switching from 11 to 3 and 1 to 2. In statement analysis, a change in language is a change in reality. This stylistic inconsistency suggests the subject is no longer recalling a fixed memory, but is instead shifting their narrative framing midstream. To understand the final report, you must understand the forensic key. Circled pronouns represent commitment. Red carets, caret, mark where the subject has been removed from the story. Brackets show a shift into the present tense, and squares highlight synonym drifts. These symbols turn a simple statement into a visible map of the subconscious mind. Look at the patterns in the final breakdown. Notice the brackets around less than going greater than, and less than discusses greater than. The subject has stopped recalling the past and is now performing the story in the present. Watch the transition from "my car" to "the vehicle," marked by the synonym drift square. And most importantly, look at the red carets. Caret, before, walked home, and took a shower. By omitting the word "I," the subject is linguistically retreating from their own actions during the most sensitive part of the night. Finally, the contradiction is laid bare. The subject claims they were alone, except for two named entities, yet later introduces an unexplained "we" on the way home. This, guilty knowledge, proves that someone else was there. Someone the subject is desperate to hide. Every statement has a signature. Today, we've seen this one's. If you are interested in the science of deception detection from spoken and written language, visit us at veridecs6.com. We are thrilled to provide an easily accessible tool that empowers everyone to see the truth hidden in plain sight. Because at Veridecs we know the words may lie, but the patterns never do. Analyze the truth today. Every statement has a signature.